The truth is revealed on the J.T. Miller trade as multiple players, including J.T. Miller, speaks out on the situation and a lot more, which we're going to break down in this episode of Canucks Digest. Before we get into that, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're enjoying this Canucks content, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be all season long giving you updates from around the team. But with that, Griffin, let's just hop straight into this today, where we know that the New York Rangers acquired J.T. Miller late last night from the Vancouver Canucks in a 5-player trade. But looking at this, we got multiple quotes from multiple Canucks players on the situation as well. The first one coming from J.T. Miller, former Canucks player, saying, "I have no disrespect to the Vancouver Canucks organization. They've given me absolutely everything. The support I've had over the year, it's been a long year. An opportunity came up where I could become a Ranger again, and obviously it's a special thing to my family and I." Now, the biggest thing with this is, if you've seen in the intro video, we know that J.T. Miller did go out and score 2 goals in a loss to the Boston Bruins today with the New York Rangers. Seeing this, I believe there's 3 goals over the last 23 games with the Canucks, so he's off to a hot start with his new club. We're going to hop straight into a quote, though, from Quinn Hughes himself, saying he's a heck of a hockey player, and I enjoyed playing with him for 6 years that I had. I obviously wish him the best right now. It doesn't really seem well, but I'm sure the next couple of weeks it will sink in a little better. We also get a quote from PD saying it just happened when we got to the rink after Friday's game, a big blow losing Miller. Now, looking at these quotes from Miller first off, then we get a quote from Captain Quinn Hughes and from Elias Pettersson. What was your initial thoughts on just seeing these players come out and speaking highly, and how it is a blow to the team losing someone like JT?
Yeah, it's been a rough 24 hours for Vancouver Canucks fans, or bittersweet, I should say, is the better word for it. Just because, he was coming in for the game, and then he was a healthy scratch, and then the trade happened. All of this happening just a half hour before the game started, and then making another move after that. But losing to someone like JT Miller, it's been a rough day for Canucks fans on social media, because I was on there earlier and saw a clip from back in the day when he was announcing that starting lineup, when Bo Horvat was the captain, Quinn Hughes was a rookie, and the vibes in the locker room were so good and so happy. And you just look back on it. It's like looking at pictures with your ex and seeing, going, oh, that's when the times were happy. And then you see what he's doing with the Rangers today, and you're like, oh, that's your ex moving on with their new partner and saying, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. They're a lot happier now. And now you just have to be better. You just have to be happy for him at the end of the day and just hope for nothing but the best. And that seems to be what the players on the Canucks are taking. They acknowledge the impact that JT Miller has had on this team. It is a very big impact, especially on Quinn Hughes, who got to play with him for 6 seasons. It was a very long time. It was very instrumental to his development as well. I definitely think JT Miller made Quinn Hughes a better player than he could have been if he didn't have JT Miller there, having that leadership, having his guidance, and that veteran presence in the locker room that led to Quinn Hughes becoming the captain that he is today and the leader of the Vancouver Canucks that he is. And then you have Elias Pettersson, where a lot of the discussion was about their feud and the rift between them. And then there was some stuff that came out that said maybe it was between Miller and Tocchet as well. But Petey here taking the high road as well, but also acknowledging that he played with him for a lot of years as well, since 2019. So it's been a minute that they've played together, and it's going to get some getting used to not having him there, regardless of whatever rift was between them. Whether relationships are good or bad, whenever things change, there is always that transition period where, regardless how things ended, you're still going to have that longing or that missing of them, no matter how it ended, and you're still going to have to move on, but you still doesn't invalidate what you're feeling about how that relationship was. So with PD here, even though he was at the center of those discussions, we appreciate him taking the high road and definitely acknowledging the impact that Miller had, just like Quinn Hughes did.
And I mean, looking at this, Pettersson did go on to continue saying, I think we had some really good moments. The playoffs in my second year and then the playoffs last year, he's just a player that I think both of us made each other better. Now, seeing this is an awesome quote coming out, because Pettersson could have took the low road on this and said anything that he felt maybe on the situation was happening. Going back to what you were saying on Tocchet, we did see Tocchet come out and say there was a bit of an altercation with him and JT after a moment in a Canucks game as well. But looking at this, the truth behind this, and we really see even Quinn Hughes coming out on it as well. Yeah, of course, not only myself, but everyone in the organization, I think it's just been a lot of noise, and for Millsy too. It's been a lot of him. I think he's looking forward to a fresh start, but we're obviously going to miss him here. This obviously came and stemmed from Jim coming out himself and saying, I felt like for a long time, and this is an older quote, that there was a solution here because everyone was worked on it, including the parties involved, but only gets resolved for a short period of time and then it festers again. It has certainly appeared like there's no good solution that would keep this group together. This was from just about a week ago. We've seen the Canucks go on, move on from J.T. Miller. The biggest thing with this team, and I know that we've talked about this, Griffin, I know a lot of people talked, this is a team that should be a contender. We've seen them make a push last year without their starting goalie, without their leading goal scorer in Brock in the second round, taking the Oilers to Game 7 before losing. The Oilers went on to force the Florida Panthers to a Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals. They know what it's like to fight top competition. This year, though, the Canucks are currently sitting out of the wildcard spot. The Calgary Flames are 1 point ahead of them. This is being recorded on Saturday. So after next game, this may change or may change tonight as well. But looking at this is unacceptable for this Canucks team. They have aspirations to win a Stanley Cup. They have the motivation to win. They want to keep Quinn Hughes on this team. Something had to give, and sadly, the casualty of this had to be J.T. Miller. We've seen him score 2 goals with the Rangers tonight. The biggest thing, JT has been successful over seasons with the Vancouver Canucks. The biggest thing, and I think this is what really forced the Canucks into making this move, was how much cap space they clear up by moving on from J.T. Miller. $12.3 million in trade deadline cap space. This changes the entire just aspect and future of the Canucks team. We have a video going out before this that you've probably seen already, saying the Canucks are looking for a high impact forward. They want to make moves. They are looking to change this roster up completely. Looking that you move out Miller's $8 million contract, the fact that he's 37 at the end of this deal. Looking at this, Griffin, I know it sucks to lose a 100-point player and someone that played with so much passion with this team, but do you think this ultimately is what maybe puts the Canucks management in the position to add more forwards? We've seen them add a defenseman with the pick that they moved on to when they traded Miller. Do you think maybe this is how the Canucks had to really just go into this, look at the truth and say, hey, we need to move this guy out. We need to fill in other positions. We have no other choice at this point.
I think that's definitely the reason that most people, definitely the logical reason. Everyone's going to go with the dramatic reason of, oh, it was because the feud just got so far. And that's what Jim was saying. But Jim could have also been using smoke and mirrors to hide the real reason, which is because of the salary cap. This management knows that we don't have the pieces as of last night, and even as of right now, we don't have the pieces to be a Stanley Cup contender right now. We need to go out and get more pieces, but we were very limited financially of what we could do at the trade deadline with our cap hit. So management was looking at that going, we could sweep this under the rug kind of because we have this other problem that's being the main focus of it. And this could be the real reason, and it just goes right under the rug and no one's going to ask any questions about it. We're asking the questions right now because we're looking at it from a logical standpoint saying, hey, it definitely was a cap move because look at all the money that they have now that they can go out and get guys on cap-friendly deals. We see Kiefer Sherwood. I bet one of the reasons he's the best free agency signing this past offseason, look at what he's getting paid. $1.5 million, leading the league in hits. I know he's on IR right now. Hopefully he comes back as soon as possible and fully healthy. But he's leading the league in hits right now. He's one of the top scorers on the Canucks, and he's only getting paid $1.5 million. So now the Canucks have 12 million right now instead of just 4 million with the Miller being gone. Now they have a lot more money where they can bring in guys on $1 to $2 million deals, whether on a rental or a short-term deal where they can improve themselves even further with this Canucks system. And now they have that freedom to go out and get someone who can actually make this team a contender. Not saying Miller didn't make us a contender. His passion, his drive, his competitiveness, everything that he brought to this team, we'll never be able to thank him enough for what he meant to this team and what he meant to fans as well. I know it got sour near the end of there, but that's usually how relationships go. They can start out the greatest and the happiest of things, and they can end in the worst ways possible, but it still made the journey great nonetheless. But with all of this happening now, you can go out and get a few more forwards, a few more puck moving defensemen, a few more big body defensemen, or guys that can hit harder, and make sure that we have the pieces necessary to make a serious cup run. Because right now, where things were at, we were this constant cusp team where we were so inconsistent that we were in and out, in and out, in and out of the playoff race. And now we are in a position where we can go and make that final push through this last half of the season.
What would you guys' thoughts on this? I know the Miller trade hurts. I know a lot of people love him. I hopped in Kempener Canucks stream last night and everyone said how much they're going to miss him. But what's your guys' thoughts on how this opens up more opportunities for this Canucks team? We know this team hasn't won. We know this team wants to win. As Canucks fans, we deserve to watch this team finally bring a cup home, and it starts with adding new characters to this locker room. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Go down and leave a comment below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back maybe tonight with another episode because we know the Canucks are making a lot of moves and they haven't seemed to slow them down yet. But let us know down in the comments who you want to see them add. But with that, I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Griffin, and take care.